Hey guys, welcome to another Q&A video.
In our last Q&A, we answered your questions about travel, and in this Q&A, we're going to answer your questions about van life. And if you're new here, my name's Adam.
And I'm Catherine, and we also have a pup named Kona. And for the last 7 months before COVID-19, we were traveling full-time in our Sprinter van that we converted ourselves, but we're now here in Austin at my parents' house just waiting for it to be safe to travel again.
We're going to try to keep this Q&A shorter than our last Q&A, but we just get excited about talking about this stuff, get a bit chatty. So if you're short on time, we're going to leave the questions with the timestamps below. So let's get started. First question is, why did you decide to do van life? Before we moved into the van, we lived in Seattle and we were out every weekend exploring all the little towns around Vancouver, Portland, everywhere, all kinds of hikes. And I'm not joking when I say every weekend.
Yeah, we were never home.
Yeah, so we just wanted to be able to do that all the time and all across the country. So
we decided we wanted to travel full time, but we have a dog named Kona that we mentioned earlier, and we couldn't go abroad indefinitely like some people do. That would have been great, but we wanted to keep our little family together, so we had to look into options where we could have our dog Kona with us. So we looked into, our first idea was like a little teardrop trailer, and then we quickly realized that would be too small for full-time living. We also looked into RVs, and then we thought about a van. And for us, the reason why we chose a van over the others is, one, we were able to fully customize the space to meet our exact needs and lifestyle. It's something you can park in cities, you can drive it in cities, drive it in nature. It's really like versatile.
Very versatile.
It's a hard word.
Yeah.
And also we don't have to pay for campgrounds. We're fully self-contained, so it was more affordable from like a nightly cost perspective.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why we chose van life and a van.
Yeah, I remember when we first decided all right, we're gonna do a van. I was ready to drop everything and just get going on it.
Yeah. So then we spent 7 months converting this thing, which that part was very, very hard, but it's been totally worth it. Yeah. What's the most difficult situation you have been in while on the road? So we have 4 different situations that we thought of that were either difficult or weird or unique. Not really, some of them were kind of scary. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're just
interesting.
A little different than our normal day-to-day.
Yeah.
So our first situation was basically right when we hit the road, we headed up to Grand Teton National Park. So that was kind of our first big adventure. We were there for about a week. And we learned very quickly that we did the wrong gauge wires on our electrical system. Well, actually, we didn't figure that out for a while, but we started having issues very quickly. Our induction stoves were having issues. We couldn't get our hot water heater to work. So we were, in Grand Teton National Park, which in the summertime is beautiful.
Awesome.
It's like 70, 80 degrees, perfect. But at night, it's very, very cold. So when we went to take our first shower in the van, we couldn't get the hot water heater to work. And it was an ice cold shower, and I'll never forget Adam's screaming. He was like, ah, ah, ah. It was brutal.
Yeah.
But there were no gyms nearby. There was nowhere else for us to shower, so we had to suck it up. And we were probably really smelly that week because we were really scared to take more showers. And then also because of the wire gauging issue, we were running, our battery power was running really low, really fast, or I think that was what the issue was. And so in the middle of the night, sometimes our alarms would go off telling us that our battery was too low or it wasn't getting enough power, or I don't know, had these alarms that
the voltage was low.
Yeah. So we woke up one night at 2 a.m. I think, and our alarms were going off, and we were like, what do? We have no idea what to do. We can't sleep with this.
We're in this awesome camping spot and just in the middle of the night.
So we got out of bed and we drove for about an hour to get our batteries up, and we just drove around the dark roads of Jackson, Wyoming with no plan. We were just driving all around until we could get that alarm to shut off and we could go back to bed.
It's one of those memories you'll never forget.
It sucked in the moment, but now we look back and we laugh. The whole first month we had this issue, and we eventually came back down to Austin to fix it with my dad's help. And that first month was probably our best month on the road, to be honest. It was so much fun. But we didn't let those setbacks stop us. We're like, it's part of the experience.
Yeah, it was all part of it, part of the fun of learning about the van.
And learning how the power works. That's the biggest thing we've had to learn.
Yeah. So situation number 2, we were in Denver in November for a wedding, and it was abnormally cold. It was below freezing. Yeah. And so I'm doing dishes, and number 1, we didn't build the van for below freezing temperatures. Yeah. We didn't plan on that. We were gonna chase the sun, So I'm doing the dishes after dinner, and crap, the pipes freeze. The sink, it wouldn't drain. I was like, oh crap, what do I do? And so I've always heard freezing pipes are bad, And so
My dad had kept warning us about it. We're
Yeah.
like, well, we have no choice. Here we are.
yeah, because they're just plastic PVC pipes, and so we just had to like ride it out through the night and hope that it didn't crack or anything.
With our sink kind of full.
Yeah, with the sink full of water, and it didn't unfreeze or defrost until about 10 or 11 the next morning. But it was just as scary. All the pipes were good.
Yeah.
Everything's all good, but it was one of those. I freak out about every little creak and moan on the road.
And I'm like, it's fine.
I worry about it way more
Which
than
is funny
she
because
does.
in normal life before the van, we were the opposite. I worried about everything. I'd stress
Yeah.
about everything. But since hitting the road, I'm like, meh. It's part of the adventure. So also while we were in Colorado, it was like Adam said, it was abnormally cold. They were getting snowstorms like earlier in the season than normal.
Yeah.
And so we stopped at a rest stop one night on our way back up to Denver, and it was 1 degree out. 1 degree,
Coldest
but
night of
felt
our
like
life.
the negatives.
Yeah.
We've never been in really in like low single digits for sure. So we get the heater on and we get our backpacking sleeping bags out. We unzip them to make them more into blankets. We put one over us. We put one over Kona's crate so she could stay warm.
Yeah, we were gonna be fine because the heater's awesome.
Oh,
it's working and everything.
amazing.
Yeah.
And then at like 2 or 3 a.m. we wake up and it's
Heater's
pretty
not-
cold in
yeah.
the van. The heater's not on.
It's not
Like,
working
we can't hear
anymore.
it. And we couldn't get it to turn back on. It would like try and then shut off. So long story short, we figured out that the heater will not work if your fuel tank is below a quarter of the tank
Yeah,
full.
the line for the auxiliary line is plugged into the main fuel tank at a quarter of a tank so that you don't drain out your fuel tank with the heater.
Yeah.
With whatever's hooked up to the auxiliary.
So the one time our heater has not worked was the one coldest night. And it was just because we didn't have enough fuel. If we had filled up before, we would have been fine.
Yeah, so if you're getting a Sprinter that is kind of newish, I don't know what year they started doing that, but if it's already plumbed in, just know that it's at the quarter
Yeah.
tank
So
level,
always, if it's a cold night, make sure you go fill up at the
Yeah,
pump before
yeah.
you go to bed.
And then our last sticky situation was we were in Missoula, Montana. We were at a park. We were just working. We had the window shades down. It was a cool little park. And we were just working, like I said. And then all of a sudden, these teenagers, like, I don't know.
They
probably
had a
around
car, so they
20.
obviously were like 16. I think they were high schoolers.
Yeah, they pull up. And I look up, and I'm looking over at Catherine's shoulder, and I see this kid. He has like a pistol in his hand, and then another kid has like a big long like dagger or knife on his hip, and they're just like twirling them around and playing with them, and then they're like walking towards the van, and they're like, a foot from the van, and we're inside the van just
They obviously
working.
can't see us through
They
the
can't
windows.
see us. The windows are super dark, and they're taking pictures with our van in the background, and it was
And they're just like holding up the gun,
Yeah.
and they're twirling it. Like
Yeah.
we were working there, and Adam all of a sudden goes, "Oh my God, that kid has a gun!"
Yeah.
And I'm like, heart sinks. I'm like, "Oh my God, what's gonna happen to us? Like, can they see us in here?" But I don't know. Other people walked by and drove by, and
They didn't seem
no one
fazed,
seemed
yeah.
phased. So we have a few conclusions we've come to.
Yeah, I think we think that they were like LARPing or action role playing or just
Or it was
playing
like a fake
around.
gun. It was like
Yeah,
an
fake
airsoft
gun.
BB gun.
I didn't feel too threatened. They didn't seem like too threatening or menacing, so I wasn't too worried. But I know she was.
I was worried because, things happen, and
it was
I
just kinda
we were
weird.
like, do we leave? But then they know we're in here, or do we just stay and hope they don't come after us? It was just a very
It was just goofy,
bizarre
yeah.
situation, and we still don't know what to make of it. But we're here, we're alive. Nothing happened. I think they were harmless, but it was just unlike any situation we've been in the van.
How has van life changed your relationship?
As we mentioned in our last Q&A, our travel Q&A, we've become more, I feel like our life has become a little bit more stressful since hitting the road. There's just a lot of daily things that you have to think about in the van that you don't have to think about in a house or an apartment. Also, our job situation and income situations changed a bit, so that can be a little stressful. So we've definitely have our more stressed out moments that we sometimes let out on each other since hitting the road. But I will say, we are truly the best of friends. We have so much fun together, and we absolutely love living in a van together.
Yeah, I mean, living in a tiny space 24/7 with your significant other or with anybody, moving all the time, it might not be for everyone, but we've just grown even closer, and we are loving every
Yeah.
minute of it. And
We we don't get annoyed
No,
with the
we don't
small
get annoyed with
space
each other,
or like with
nothing.
being around each
Yeah.
other all the time. I think the only time we get a break from each other is maybe when he's in the laundromat or in the grocery store and I'm working in the van. Like that's the
yeah, I'll go
or at the
shopping
gym
or
in the
something.
shower or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, that's really the only break. Like I don't know, an hour tops per week.
Yeah,
You know,
and
all together.
some people will tell us like, oh God, I could never do that. I would like my husband and I would kill each other, but like we seriously love it, and we just have so much fun together.
I don't know.
And I feel like it's made us weirder.
Yeah.
I don't know. We've gotten like goofier with
All
each
kinds
other.
of little jokes and sayings and
Yeah. And you have to communicate more because you're
Yeah.
always with each other. So I think for us, it's been a super positive experience. And even though we might have our more stressed out moments, as a whole, like there's no one I would rather spend my time with
oh yeah.
than this guy right here. What updates have you made to the van? So as we mentioned at the beginning of this video, before COVID-19, we were on the road for 7 months full time. So in that time, we've learned things that work really well in the van and things that maybe don't work as well in the van as we thought they would. So the first thing, and we've talked about this I think before, but our dog Kona went to a pretty intensive training. She actually was in training still the first month we were on the road. And when we got her back, we learned that she was gonna have to be crated anytime we're driving, anytime we leave her alone in the van. And then she also has like this special place bed that she needs to be on most of the time. And part of that's for safety, part of that's also just Kona needs to have like her own space where she can relax, and she can't always just have the freedom to wander around and do things. Otherwise she gets herself into trouble. So when we built the van, as you might have seen in our van tour, we had this like slot right here where her crate would go, and so that way we could have her crate with us on the road, and whenever we go to an Airbnb or something, we'd have the crate, but it wouldn't be in the way. But then when we got her back, she had to be in the crate most of the time, so normally her crate is right here.
Yep.
And it takes up almost the whole
You
entryway.
have about this much of walking room to get in and out,
It's-
and it's a pain and it's stressful. And same thing, like we thought we'd be able to go straight in and out of here. It takes up 80% of this, and it's just like a jungle gym.
Yeah,
again,
I've
so-
tripped over it. I've said a lot of bad words at it.
Yeah.
It's just been, to be honest, it's the most stressful part of van life for us is having that crate. So Adam built this, we're trying to come up with other solutions, and we have one, but it's not really working quite yet.
Yeah, so our table, it goes down into our bed mode, and so then there's like a crawl space under there, and we thought, oh, that'd be perfect. Like, it's a good height and it's good width and all that, so all I need to do is like build a door onto it, and she can just hang out down there. Well, I built this door, and first of all, the space is like 25 inches wide, and so it swings in so far. We put her little memory foam mattress under there, and she loves sleeping under there at night. But anyways, if the mattress is there, you can't really swing the door open, and it swings really deep into there. So it was attached to one side so it would swing. So I tried like undoing that and then having it to where it can just slide in. But as soon as she sees the door, like we touch it or she hears it or anything, she like bolts out of there. So we're trying to figure out a solution.
And we do want to say she loves her crate. The crate's not like
she
a
loves the
punishment
crate.
for her. She loves her crate.
Yeah.
She also loves the space under the bed. I think she just doesn't like that door coming down from under the bed. So we're working on conditioning her more so she can be under there, because when we have this space open, the van feels like a mansion to us. It's so much bigger.
It's nice and big. I mean, this walkway's perfect for the whole van is just perfect for us. So
Yeah.
Our goal before we leave here, which has been a goal the whole time, is to come out here and work out here for a couple days and like really like condition her down there. But it's
been too hot.
It's been too hot, and the first couple weeks we were here, it was nice. So that's when we should have taken advantage of it. But
Darn.
I think we're just gonna have to suck it up and do it.
Yeah.
So other than that, we have a gray water tank underneath the van, and we didn't anticipate it smelling as much as it does. And the smell is like a horrible, like rotten egg smell. And sometimes you can, if you're just in here, you can smell it. But when we smell it the most or when I do, is when we're driving. It just like seeps through the AC somehow. I don't know. And so
Disgusting.
you're just like breathing in rotten eggs for, sometimes we drive like hours and hours, and it's just horrible. So yeah, we met up with some other van friends a couple months ago, and they told us about this kind of attachment that you can install that the liquid can go through, but then there's like flaps in there that close so that air can't come back out. And so that's what we're working on. That's another thing we're going to work on before we get out of here to install. We haven't, I don't know, we've just been
We had to
in
make
the
sure.
code.
Well, we had to make sure it would work first.
Yeah.
We had enough space down there to do all the things we needed to do, and then now we actually got to do it.
Yeah, so next weekend we're going to spend some time just
working
Doing
on
some little
things
in the van.
So we
yeah.
hope it works. And then another van friend, they told us about these like lemon tablets you can put down the
Yeah.
sink, and those do help too.
They do help, but it doesn't last very long, and it's something else you got to buy, and I don't know. Yeah.
Our gray water tank is mostly just biodegradable soap and water.
Yeah.
We filter out all food particles, but there
Yeah.
could be like some occasional food juices that
Yeah,
make
there's
down
still
there.
the liquid that goes down, so
Yeah.
I don't know why it smells so bad, but it's
It's a known thing though. Once we found out
Yeah.
we weren't alone, we felt better.
It's a common RV issue, yeah.
And then the third thing, so we actually haven't done this yet, but it's next weekend's project, is our
Mm-hmm.
backsplash. So if you saw our van tour, we have a tile backsplash, but it's not actually tile. It's like a
Yeah.
stick-on tile.
It's hard to tell though. Like you have to take a double take. We get people all the time that are like, "There's no way that's not real
Yeah.
tile. It looks pretty
It
legit."
looks pretty legit.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a few spots where you can kind of tell like where we connected the
Yeah.
pieces, but for the
not
most
gonna be
part, it's
perfect.
great.
Yeah.
However, we've noticed in the last few months that like the first like 75% of the tile is a slightly different color than the other 25%.
It like yellowed somehow.
Yeah, so it's all gray. It's all supposed to be the same,
Yeah.
but it had discolored
It has
some.
a tint to it.
And it's not from cooking or anything. We've researched this and no one else has this issue. So what we think happened is we bought one pack of tiles to start out with, and then 2 months later we bought a second pack because we didn't know we needed two. And so what we're thinking happened is since they were produced so far apart that they weren't.
There's
There's like an
some kind of,
inconsistency
in the
or
production
something.
of them, yeah.
So we just bought like a big pack that was hopefully all made at the same time together, and we're gonna reinstall it. And it's not that hard, but
Yeah,
you have
we-
to be pretty precise.
We thought about doing real tile since we're here and we have the time, but I think it just, I don't know, we just don't want to do it. We'd have to like rent the tile cutter and
Yeah.
learn how to do something else. We already know how to do this, and it won't take that long. As long as the first time it was, it was an adventure the first time, but
So we still recommend the stick-on tile. It's worked great for
Yeah,
us.
yeah, it's great.
We know some
Once
people
you
have
get it
had
in.
like hit or miss experiences with it peeling up, but we cook a lot, and even with like the steam, it's held up
Yeah,
really, really well.
perfect.
It's just this weird
the
color
wrong color.
issue, and we're just picky, and we want our home to look perfect. So
Yeah.
we're fixing it because we have the time. So why not?
what changes do you wish you could make on the van?
So when we first posted our van tour, we got quite a few comments of people saying that we would hate the bed to table combination. They said we'd get sick of doing it and like good luck with that, you're gonna hate it. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous we would after all the people were telling us we would, but to be honest, we absolutely love it.
Yeah.
We love the flexibility of having a bed or having this like really large workspace and dining space, and there are some weeks we do not change it to the table, but that's okay. Like we like knowing that we could if we needed to. So if we're feeling lazy, we don't have to, but if we really want to crank out a ton of work or eat an elaborate meal, have a big spread,
Yeah.
we have the table space to do so. So for us, we love it. It takes
Maybe a max of 60 seconds. It's super easy.
It's super easy to convert.
It's not a problem at all.
I will say for
We've
me,
enjoyed it.
the table size and like getting it like put together is kind of hard. I just can't get a good enough grip. So, ladies beware if you're
If you
maybe
make the big
smaller.
table,
yeah,
yeah.
it might be hard, but other than that, it's easy.
The table's big and bulky, but yeah, it's very easy.
So a couple other things we get questions about a lot that we just wanted to clarify real quick is people ask us, do we still like the Havelock wool? And the answer is yes, we love it. It's great. And then people kind of a second question to that is we did not do any rattle trap or anything in our van because the wool is supposed to be a really good like sound dampener.
Dampener, yeah. Deadener, dampener. I think
So people ask us, do we regret not putting in the rattle trap? And it's hard for us to answer this because we don't know what the alternative would be. Like, but for us, like we don't experience really any noises
No,
besides stuff in the cabinets.
I think it's they claim on their website that it's like a natural sound deadener, so I think it works great. I
Yeah.
mean, we don't notice any like rattling metal that you would think, a
Yeah.
big metal box going down the road. So I think it's fine. But another thing to note is we have the wool in the floor, and we were hoping that it would keep the floor warm from the heat and things like that when it's cold, but it doesn't really
Yeah.
at all. So I mean, it probably helps a little bit with keeping heat in, but the floor is still definitely cold.
Yeah.
So I
don't-
don't think that you're gonna get heated floors or anything unless you put something down there to heat them up. So
Yeah, I don't think we regret doing it. It's just something to set your expectations.
yeah, and then another big thing is that we wish we could change is some more ventilation. So we have a T-vent window on this sliding door here, and then we have the fan. But if you notice, that's all towards the front, and in the back, it's completely closed in. So we wish we could either have another T-vent or two in the back, or a second fan, or either move the fan back But when I was putting it in, I was kind of nervous that it wasn't going to sit flush enough back there. So I was like, well, it has to go there.
And I was like, we should move it. And they're like, no.
There's tons of people that have them in the back. It's doable. I was just kind of nervous about it. But yeah, that's a big thing that we wish we
And it works fine. I mean, we try to chase good weather, so for the most part, we're not sleeping in super hot conditions.
Yeah.
We do have this little fan we can plug in at night that blows right on us, and that's actually better than this fan.
Yeah.
So we use that on really hot nights. We just have to have enough power to run that.
Yeah, I mean, we can open the back doors as well, not at night, but during the day,
yeah.
sitting at the park or something, and that'll help. But another thing is with the inverter, you can get this remote to turn it on and off. And when we were building it, I was like, why would you ever need to turn it off? It's you want to be able to plug stuff in and turn stuff on all the time. Well, if we leave it on overnight, it draws a lot of our battery power, and I don't know, 10-15% of it, and that's just a pretty high cost. If we need to run that fan back there, yeah, we need to do it if it's just too hot. But so the current situation is we have to like open our bench and reach down there. It's a kind of a hard reach to get down there, or come outside and open all the back doors up and stuff and reach back there and turn it off. And sometimes I'll be laid down in bed and ready to fall asleep, and I'm like, crap, I need to turn the inverter off. I have to like undo the bed, and it's especially awesome when we're in the middle of a Walmart parking lot and I have to go outside or something and do it.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing that we really wish we had, but like I said, when we were building it, it's $100-something bucks. And
we didn't really understand why we needed it, but now we need it.
Yeah,
so.
and we know we can install it. It's just connect it and then we'll run it up to our other stuff. It's something we can put in, but we just
haven't yet.
It's not a huge deal. We deal with it. So.
But if you are building a van, we'd recommend getting it.
Yeah, I'd recommend getting it. I wish I did have it, but we deal with it.
We survive. So we do have a blog post from our first 6 months on the road, recapping kind of everything we love about our van, the products we love, the things that we wish we could change that we basically covered here, as well as any challenges we face. So if you haven't read that yet, go check that out. We will link to that below so you can give it a read. Is it safe sleeping in a van at a Walmart parking lot?
So when we initially hit the road, we went west. There's plenty of public free land to park on. Then we started to head to the East Coast. There's not as much public free land that you can park on, so that's when we got our first Walmart experience. And yeah, it can be interesting. So we prefer sleeping at Cracker Barrels. They're much better, but they're nice and safe and everything, but it can be dangerous because I don't know if you've ever been, but they have these biscuits and they give you butter and they give you all the jams you want, and it's so good and it's very addicting, and it can just add up really quick and be a problem. So.
Yeah, Cracker Barrels are jam, literally, jam and biscuits.
The biscuits are
but they're maybe not as frequent, so sometimes we get stuck at a Walmart. But one thing that we do love to use to find out where to sleep at night is this app called RV Parky. And there's also other apps and stuff we use as well, but this one's just been our go-to for the last few months. Mm-hmm. So on this app, you can see like Walmart's, Cracker Barrels, those travel truck stops, different spots that typically allow people to sleep overnight, and you can see if it's allowed. It'll say yes or no, and then you can read reviews. So for us, that's super important to figure out if this Cracker Barrel or Walmart's in a safe area, if anyone's had issues. If you read bad reviews, we just don't go, we'll find something else. So that app has been a lifesaver. We also always go in and ask, or we call and ask if we can stay overnight, just because we don't want to get asked to leave in the middle of the night. That's always a huge fear of ours, which is why we don't stealth camp. We've stealth camped once, and that was not our thing, because knowing someone might knock on our door, like a police officer in the middle of the night, we just don't want that. We're rule followers, so we just stay away from stealth camping. So we always ask the Walmart or Cracker Barrel for permission. Typically they're 24/7 hour Walmarts, so the Cracker Barrel's not, but the Walmarts are, and that kind of makes us feel better because we know that there's people inside working at all hours and like security cameras and stuff, so we feel a bit safer. But we especially feel safer if there are other people doing it too. Yeah. We hate being the only car.
Yeah, we try to call ahead. You can always get through to Cracker Barrel and they'll give you a yes or no. And most of the time it's yes, it's cool. And like I said, like she said, we'll check the RV Parky and we'll kind of know ahead of time. It's just kind of cover ourselves. But Walmart, you can rarely ever get through on the phone for some reason to ask. So we'll just kind of show up and then we'll go in and buy some groceries. And I'll usually ask the cashier and they're kind of like, I guess.
Like, people do it.
They don't ever say no, and there's other ones out there usually, so we just go with it. But We've stayed at probably, I don't know, a good handful of Walmarts, and we've only had to leave one time, and it wasn't Walmart's fault, or they didn't like kick us out or anything. It was, we were laying down in bed like 10 o'clock or something, and then all these teenagers roll up with their hot rods and stuff, and they're like, they're like not doing donuts, but they're just like racing around. They got loud music going, they're yelling and
There's, like,
dancing.
people dancing.
They're, like, partying in the Walmart parking lot. It happens in small towns all across America, I'm sure, but that's the one time we were like, we just gotta go.
Yeah, we didn't.
I'm tired.
We didn't feel unsafe per se.
No, they were fine.
We just felt it was, they were doing it right by our van.
They were like the next row over.
And we just were like, oh, this doesn't feel right. So we left and we went to a Cracker Barrel. But we'll eat the biscuits if we have to, I guess.
Yeah. But overall, we feel very safe in our van. We have the Simply Safe system, so when we're not in it, we'll turn that on and we watch Kono through that and all that. So
we've never really felt unsafe anywhere. There's
No.
just been some times where we feel like maybe we should move on to a different spot instead. And everyone's always told us, if it feels weird, don't stay.
Yeah.
So
and that's happened a couple
BLM
times.
land or whatever.
Yeah, we've pulled up to like BLM land and it sounds great, and we're the only ones out there, and that sounds like the perfect situation, but it was just kind of some spooky woods a couple times, and I was just like, I don't really feel comfortable here, so we just split.
So on our 6-month van life recap blog, we also list a lot of the apps that we like to use to find spots at night, so definitely check that out. The hard part is you have to look at usually like 5 to get a straight answer or to get like the full picture, but...
Yeah, because one app says it's a 5-star place. A bunch of people rated it 5-star, but then you look at another app and you look at the exact same place and it'll be 1-star.
So,
people had horrible experiences there, so you gotta kind of just balance them all out.
It's kind of like Yelp, take it with a grain of salt, look at a bunch of different resources, figure out like what's the closest to the truth you can find, then try it out for yourself, and if it feels sketchy, just leave.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes it's all part of the experience. I mean, it's not a normal lifestyle, so you just gotta roll with it.
Yeah, gotta be flexible.
How much does van life cost compared to a more traditional life?
So we just want to start out our answer by saying that this is just our situation. Everyone's situation will be different. We try to live as affordably as we can. We don't really buy clothes very often. We only eat out when we're filming vlogs. Try to cut costs as much as we can, but we do have a few bills that take up a pretty large chunk of our budget, like our van payment. We did the conversion in all cash, but we do have a payment on the actual van that we're paying off, and we also have student loans for me. So we're hoping to get those both paid off in the next year or two, but for now they do take up a good chunk of our budget. Overall though, our expenses went down 38% from when we lived in our apartment in Seattle, but our income went down 35%. So for us, it's really just the same. Our cost of living is about the same as Seattle. We don't spend as much, but we also don't make nearly as much. So it kind of balances out for us.
Yeah, so kind of what bills we do have and don't have. We got rid of a car payment, rent, water and electricity we don't have. What we do have, we have the van payment, so that's a good chunk. Our cell phone bills went up, so we have data on our cell phones. And then we also have a hotspot that we pay for to be able to work on the road.
Also have higher fuel.
Oh yeah, we spend a lot of money on diesel to get around. So, but other than that, I mean, we can travel all across North America, and we don't have to pay for hotels, Airbnbs, other than for when we need something.
Cars,
rental cars. So, other than when we need to get someplace for Kona if we're going on a long hike or something. So we're able to go all across America, see what we want for not free, but
really
pretty
close.
Affordably, if you take into account airfare and hotels and everything, that if we lived in a house that we'd have to pay for.
Yeah, like when we would, live in Seattle, we went down to like Zion and Bryce. Like we still did that trip really cheap because we camped and stuff, but it was still, we used miles. We still spent, probably a few $100 to $1,000 on that whole trip. But with the van, we're able to go places for essentially free, minus like the food costs and stuff.
So it costs us some time and the fuel to get there.
So although our like cost of living hasn't really gone down, that is one huge perk that does help us from a financial perspective. Did you go back and forth between a 144 wheelbase and a 170 wheelbase? The short answer is no, and that's mostly because we wanted our van to feel as much like a home as possible. We wanted to have some of the comforts of a home, like a fully enclosed bathroom and a shower, enough storage space, enough workspace, and we just felt that the only way we could really get all of that was to have the larger van, have more space to work with. And we actually don't have the largest van. There's an extended 170, so it's like a foot longer or so.
It's a little bit
Yeah.
more than a foot longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really didn't have that battle with 144, 170. I mean, we were looking at other people's layouts and we thought like that's all the things we wanted, and we had heard that it just wasn't going to be like too big, and so it fits in parking spots and everything, so we just thought it was going to be perfect. I mean, if we really wanted to, we could probably make it fit in a 144. We've seen people that have showers and everything in there. I guess we'd have to get rid of our dresser and it would just be smaller, but for us three, it's the perfect size. And
Yeah.
if we were just doing it on the weekend part-time kind of a thing, we definitely would have done a 144.
Yeah.
It's a bit cheaper and just you don't need as much. You're not in it full time, so
I'd say if it was just the two of us, a 144 could have probably worked.
Yeah,
but since
that
we have
too.
Kona, having
we
the
wouldn't
extra
have
space,
this space right here.
yeah, having this extra space is just really, really nice. If it was just one person, a 144 for full time is totally doable. When we were first building our van, we didn't see that many showers in in 144s, only in 170s. But I think now people are putting showers in 144s, so
Yeah.
it's definitely doable. If if it's just two people or one person, 144 could work. But we do like having the extra space, and it's not that much of a hassle to have the longer van. It fits
Yeah.
in spots. It
Yeah.
hangs over a little.
Yeah,
but-
but it's super comfortable. It's not too big. It's not too small. It's just right. Was it difficult to get used to driving the 170 wheelbase? So driving the van is actually super easy. Once you're behind the wheel for a couple minutes, you kind of almost forget that it's a big giant van, and it just kind of feels like a regular car. A couple precautions I take is I don't take turns as fast as I would in a normal car. Sometimes the dresser drawers will fly open, and I just don't want
to flip the van.
I don't want to flip the van, and I don't want stuff just rattling everywhere, so I just take it a little slower. And same thing on the highway and in towns, like I just keep extra distance in front of me. I don't want to slam on the brakes, and I don't go too fast. And then another big thing that you really notice that is the biggest difference between a regular car is the wind. You're driving down the highway, just the littlest, like you like feel it move, and it's so nerve-wracking. I'm still not used to that, but that's the only drawback.
We have wind assist though,
Yeah,
so that does help.
It does have a wind assist, and so it'll kind of correct you, but man, it's so scary. There was one time we were driving from Grand Junction west back to I don't know
Somewhere
where,
in Utah,
back in
maybe?
Utah,
Yeah.
and man, we were like driving into a storm, and the wind hit the van so hard, and I would have sworn that the van like picked up and like moved over. It was.
Is that the
it was
time
so
we went to
scary.
that rest stop just to like wait it out because we
Yeah.
were so scared?
Yeah, it was scary.
Yeah, so to be honest, Adam drives, since we've hit the road, Adam drives 100% of the time because when he's driving, I'm always working in the passenger seat, editing vlogs, working my day job, working on writing stuff. So he's done all the driving since we hit the road, but when we were converting the van, I drove the van quite a bit, so I do have experience driving the van as well. And I always get a little nervous when I'm about to drive it just because of like blind spots and the length, but it's actually pretty easy. As soon as I start driving, I feel a lot better. How does showering work? Is daily showering an option? So in our van, we have this bathroom shower combo, otherwise known as a wet room. So we have the toilet in there, and then we have the shower head above it, and then we have a shower door that closes to keep it all contained when the shower's running. So we do shower with our toilet in the bathroom. We could remove it, but it just seems like too much work, so we've always just kept it in. And it's very, very small, but I think it works well for me. I think Adam has a little bit.
It's
of a
probably the
turn on.
perfect size for you, but I hit my head on the ceiling. I bump into the walls when I'm doing stuff, but we make it work.
The nice thing is we have like a shower head. You can
Yeah.
like, so you don't have to like just stand under it. You can
Yeah.
be more flexible.
Yeah. So what we do is, like, say we're going on a hike or something. Before we head to our camp spot for the day, I'll run back there and I'll turn on the breaker switch for the hot water heater, and it draws a lot of power. It's a 2.5 gallon Bosch water heater. So we'll drive. I'll turn the engine on first, and then I'll go do it. And then we'll drive, and it takes about 30 minutes for it to heat up, which is hopefully usually perfect for wherever we're going. And it makes we have it set to ideal, and when we get in the shower, she's usually the one that takes the first shower, and so we can never figure out the mixer, like where's the perfect spot.
Yeah.
And the water gets really hot.
I've screamed. I've been like, ah! Like
Yeah.
it actually burned me the first time. It
Yeah.
hurt so bad, and I was frantically trying to figure out like how to turn it to get it cooler because it gets really hot, which is crazy.
Yeah, and so by the time she's taking her shower, it's like set and dialed in for me.
I'm like the guinea pig every time. But it is just mind blowing. You can take
it's
such
so cool.
a hot shower.
Every time I like pop out of the shower, I'm like, I just took a shower in this van. That's so cool.
So to go back real quick to why we turn on the van first and then the hot water heater, it's just the hot water heater takes about 10% of our battery even with the van running. So our alternator charges our batteries.
Yeah.
So even with that happening, we still lose about 10% of our battery from the hot water heater. So we just have the van running while we heat it up. That way we lose 10% versus more. So that's why we do that. We got that tip from some van friends, and that's just kind of been our process. But the showers are really, really short. They're maybe 2 minutes. We have this biodegradable shampoo. It's like an all-in-one soap, and we just like lather up real quick and then rinse off
While
and then
the
get
water's
out.
off, we like rinse off, turn it off, soap up, scrub up, turn it back on, rinse off.
Yeah,
and
then we're out. And so it's not the best of showers. Like this, I don't know, maybe TMI, but like I can't shave my legs in there. Like I don't have enough time for that. So we go to the gym.
Yeah. So we're members at Planet Fitness, and they're all across the country. So that's normally what we do. That is what we do whenever we're needing like a regular, normal, long, comfortable shower. Yeah.
So thankfully we've been near Planet Fitnesses a lot. So we would just take our regular showers there, and then if we like happen to get sweaty and need to rinse off later, we'll use the van, or if we're in a place where we don't have access to a gym, we use the van shower. So we don't use the van shower a ton. The summer, if we're able to go to some of the places we want to, we'll definitely be using it a ton because there won't be Planet Fitnesses. But I mean, we're really happy we have it.
We're super happy we have it. We don't have any issues with it. There's no leaks, nothing. Like it's when we're finished and done, we just wipe down the wall so that there's not leftover like moisture and just dry it up. And it's good.
The only complaint is it gets too hot, which is like a good problem.
What do your friends and family think about you living in a van and doing YouTube?
So my parents have been super supportive ever since we came to them with the crazy idea to live in a van and convert it. I mean, my dad, most of you may know this, but my dad helped us build our van for 7 months. So he's been dedicated to this process the whole time. So shout out to my dad. We could never thank him enough for everything he's done for us.
We have like missing fingers and everything, still be working on it.
Yeah. So as for YouTube, my parents are also like our 2 guaranteed views and thumbs up on every video, and my mom loves watching our videos because she says it makes her feel like she's with us when we're away and gets to see all the things that we get up to. So yeah, our families have been really supportive. They probably all thought we were a little crazy, as did our friends when we first brought up the idea, but we are crazy.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's been excited and supported us in it. Some people might not fully understand it, but they're always still supportive, and it's been nice like finding friends in the van community and in the YouTube community to like, bounce ideas off of and relate and ask questions and just talk about the struggles and all the extra awesome times.
Yeah, it's just such a unique lifestyle. So for us, finding people who can understand the lifestyle has been crucial because we've had moments where like we can't really talk to friends about it because they aren't going to understand like why this one situation was so stressful. But our van friends will get it. So we've loved meeting up with people on the road. We've met up with people multiple times that we've just met on Instagram, and every single time we sit and chat for hours.
Oh yeah,
and
the conversations never end. They know the situation, especially because they've probably been in that situation.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
It's helpful.
So if any of our van friends are watching,
yeah, we're open. We need some more friends. So reach out. I mean, we have time. Everybody has time right now.
Yeah,
maybe. So
we'd love, and we also love meeting people who are about to hit the road and help them. That's really fun for us too.
We hope you guys enjoyed watching our van life Q&A. We absolutely love living this lifestyle, and if this quarantine period has taught us anything, it's that we just can't wait to get back out on the road, and we'll never take another Walmart parking lot, Cracker Barrel, overnight stay, gas station coffee. We'll never take it for granted again. We're just so excited to get going.
Yeah, we're feeling like recharged and ready to hit the road and make awesome videos. So there's so many good things to come as soon as we can hit the road again, which we're not going to do until it's safe. So we don't know when that'll be, but when we can, get ready. It's going to be fun. But we hope this helped answer any questions you guys have about van life. If you have any other questions about van life or about our van in particular, please send us an email, comment below, send us a message on Instagram. We respond to every single comment, message, email we get, so we would love to chat with you guys.
We might not have all the answers, but we'll do our best to help you and we'll point you in the right direction. So again, we hope you enjoyed watching this Q&A, and we'll see you next time.